When we're writing modern ensemble sections, there's a few sort of things we want to consider again before we begin writing this particular section. In sort of old school big band writing, a lot of times we refer to these sections as shout sections. Um, Although there might be a few other names we could potentially call them. A lot of times these would happen maybe after the melody or after a solo, or sometimes they would replace the melody going out at the end of a tune. This is sort of a classic bassy approach. As we're writing an ensemble section, I think we should consider first off sort of what is the role of this material. Are we, considering developing sort of existing ideas? Is this something that should sort of follow up on the melody and sort of continue to build energy and develop on melodic ideas that have already been established? Is this something that's more exploratory? Maybe it's in the middle of a piece and sort of workshopping a new idea. Maybe we're moving into a new harmonic area. Maybe we're moving into a new rhythmic or feel style. Or finally, is this more transitionary material? Is this like a bridge between two different solos? Is this something that's leading us back to the melody at the end of a song? Maybe this is material at the very beginning of a song that's leading us into maybe the melody itself. So these ensemble sections can sort of fulfill a number of roles, and again, something you should sort of consider as you begin writing, because there might be certain techniques that are more effective depending on what role you decide to pick. First off, when writing, an ensemble section, one approach you can use is, heavily relying on the melody. This, of course, means that you could just use the same rhythm as the melody, but pick new notes and write a new melody over it, but keeping the same rhythm. You could treat it like a Charlie Parker solo and just keep the exact same space that occurs in the melody, but write something again that's sort of occupying the same rhythmic place, but in this case, just being very aware of space. Or you could actually reference a lot of the melodic phrases and adapt them using some modern techniques with some extension or truncation or embellishment. And just having a second sort of restatement of a melody that's just much more developed. This is common in a lot of charts where you'll see one version of the melody, maybe in a sort of simplified state, and then the melody repeats itself again, but in a much more complex setting with maybe the entire band playing. The second type of ensemble section that's very common and has been in the big band idiom for many years is the idea of section versus section writing. Again, with the idea that the saxes have one idea versus the brass have another idea, or saxes have an idea, trombones have an idea, trumpets have an idea. This idea that you're sort of battling one section against another section, again, is very effective. I would consider, how you're writing for them. Are you doing something that's conversational, where there's a lot of statements between each section? Are you doing something that's more call and response? Are you doing something that's more argumentative? Is it like a secret conversation? Is it yelling? I would sort of have some thoughts about how you're writing for these sections, and that might sort of gear how you're writing in this idea of section for section. Another idea that's been used extensively from the 50s onwards is the idea that there's a lot of improvisation. Charles Mingus used this very effectively. That maybe having the whole band improvise or having half the band play something of the other half improvises is a very sort of unique way of creating an ensemble section that has a very unique feeling to it. Finally, you can also consider going back and referencing starting or ending material. Not to be too repetitive, but again, if you've created some intro material, especially that uses some type of vamp or pedal, maybe you can develop this later on for the ensemble sections and continue to tweak it and add sort of additional ideas with it. I think all of these ideas are very effective, and again, are things you should consider when writing for your ensemble as a whole. A lot of them might be geared, though, towards when you're going to use them in a particular piece.